I'm Kat Mack, and welcome to the Kat Mack Talk Show. And I have the wonderful, you know what? What do you like to be called? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, Tanya. I'm Tanya.
Tanya. So, because there's so many names.
There's so many
And
different ways to say Tanya. I know.
and so I have Tanya here from New Earth Consciousness, and we were talking about, we're really just going to jump straight into it. We talk about anything that matters, sales, marketing, and showcase women that have a story to tell. And when we do background, we sat there and talked a minute beforehand. We're like, oh my God. Tanya was just telling me about her history and her mum and why we are the person that we are today. So I would like you to share what you just told me about your mum and how it started was, you know what, I'm forever in a day, background histories in retail. So Tanya started saying, well, oh, so was my mum.
Yeah.
So introduce yourself, tell me a little bit about yourself. And you know what? Let's jump straight into your mum's story because it's really cool.
Yeah. Well, I live in Twist, Washington. New Earth Consciousness is my business. I do energy healing, family constellations. That's my thing. But to get into the story of my mom, it's really interesting. So she grew up in a tiny podunk town in Texas called Las Buddy, Texas. Her dad was a rancher, and she had two brothers. And she tells me the story when she graduated from high school. She's like, "Ah, I'm so excited! I can't wait to go to college. Look at my grades! Like, I am ready." She watched her older brother go up to Texas Tech, and she was like, she had the grades. And her parents said to her, "You're not going to college. You just need to go get married." So my poor mother can you imagine the sinking feeling? I mean, I can't even imagine the sinking feeling she must have felt.
What era are we talking about?
We're talking, well, so she was born in I'm thinking 1948, 47, something like that. So it was in the 50s.
Yeah, it was a classic 50s. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And then?
So then she was like, I think they kind of compromised. They said, well, you can go to this fashion school in Dallas, thinking that'll get you a man. So she went to this fashion school, and I guess there she learned a little bit about retail and whatnot. But then she, quickly met my father, who is from Mexico City. And so here comes this charming, tall, dark, handsome Mexican on business walking into the retail store to buy something for his mother. Can you imagine?
That's funny.
They're out on a date, And so anyway, they got married, and it didn't turn out so well. Like my father was, how should I say it? He was definitely privileged, but kind of a bit of a Peter Pan, he wasn't a man. He wasn't he still was, stuck to his mom. His mom paid for everything, that kind of a scenario. So my mother really was kind of like the breadwinner. Like, she's the one that made stuff happen. So I remember her, she had a children's clothing store that she started in Texas. And I remember going into the store and helping her with inventory. And I was 8 years old, whatever. And then it went under. So she tried again. We moved to Arizona. She tried again. Eventually, time passed, and, she was very frustrated in her marriage, and eventually divorced my dad when I was about 18, and she remarried. But the person, before she got married, she was involved in this with her partner, her second husband, in business. So he had this concept of a Halloween store, temporary Halloween store. And so he asked her for her help, because she was I think she was there as a manager of this party store that he had. Mm-hmm. So she said, sure. And so, kid you not, I don't know how many years they did that. It blew up so big and so fast that when they ended up eventually, she eventually retired. They sold it to Spencer's, which is,
yeah.
It now grosses $500 million a year.
Crazy. Goose pimpling. All because your mum said, I'm not giving up.
No, she did not.
She didn't give up in her daydream.
I have to say, I had a really beautiful conversation with her actually just a couple years ago. It actually almost brings tears to my eyes because I'm like, because here I am starting out in my business, right? We know it is tough. It is so hard. Every button gets pushed. You want to throw in the towel. And I asked her, I said, so what was the secret? How did you end up where you ended up?
Yeah.
She,
What is the secret?
she said, I just followed opportunity. Can you imagine? She said, I just followed the opportunities that were presented to me. Because I think what she had behind her was, I have nothing. I don't have a degree. I don't have something to fall back on. Like, I'm just gonna, I mean, I think her desire for that life, for that wealth, to have that abundance was so strong. I think the universe just met her in that
Yeah.
place.
Yeah. She never gave
And
up. You don't need
she
a degree, do you? No,
no, you
you do
don't.
not
All you
need
need
a
is
degree.
determination. And she was smart. She was so smart. In fact, honestly, when she tells me the story, she was the one running that company.
Yeah.
Bo, her husband, was the face. He was the spokesperson. He was the whiner diner, like,
Yeah.
hey, like the schmoozer.
Yeah.
She was the one behind the scenes putting it all together, creating the structures and the foundation of what needed to happen. She was incredible.
So then I
Incredible.
ask you this then. So what was the pivotal moment in your life that you said, you know what? I'm throwing the towel in from XYZ life to go, I am going to do what I'm doing now. Because you
Yeah.
just said, you know what? It ain't easy doing what you're doing.
No.
What happened? What was the pivotal moment? You had that aha moment, and
Yeah.
because I can see fire, and
Yeah.
obviously that fire comes from, you know,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
quite obvious. See, I'm talking about it, and your face lights up, your eyes
Yeah.
are lighting up, and you're like, my whole body is goosebumping. It's almost like your mum must be here somewhere. It's weird. It's
Yeah.
really weird. The energy is energy. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, the energy will still come. And I'm like, is this your mum? Is your mum passed?
She's not, but
I
she's,
just, I don't know. It's just really weird. It's not
well,
weird,
we're all
intuitive.
connected. We're all connected. If it doesn't matter whether you're alive or not, we're all connected. Because that's part of Family Constellations, right? It's
Okay, so
like,
talk to us about that.
well, you want me to answer your question though?
Yeah.
I'll share with you my pivotal moment. So graduating from college, I had a heart for, my question was, how can I be the most positive catalyst for the world? And in my mind at that time, I'm like, it's all about the children. Because if we're not raising our children and educating our children in a way that is nourishing and generative and all that, there's no hope, right? So I went into education. And so again, the universe works in mysterious ways. I ended up in Waldorf education, which I knew nothing about. In fact, I got hired as a Spanish teacher at a Waldorf school. And then,
Wow.
life went on after that. So I got into education. I taught, I became a single mom, then I married, and then I had a kid and worked in early childhood and was on that path for a long time. And while I was doing that, I was also learning about energy healing and all of that kind of thing. And I would say really honestly, just in the last couple years, unfortunately, I just see that so many of our systems are so broken. And I realize, so at least here in the States, early
Global.
childhood education, teachers make nothing, okay? They cannot, if I had to live on what I was making as a teacher,
Yeah.
I could not be able to pay my bills. But I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, Tanya, you're almost 50. You can't keep doing this. You can't afford to do this anymore. Even though I'm doing excellent work with the children, it's not a system that works. The children are not with their families. They're in childcare all day long, so I just felt like, you know what, I'm going to shift my focus and step out of that dead end job and go into something that has unlimited potential, or at least more potential.
That obviously lights you up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's, to me, I'm like, okay, well, it's not too much of a pivot, because it's like, okay, now I'm focusing on mothers and families, because really, if I'm doing all this positive work with the children, they're still having to go home. They're young, they're having to go home, and if their families are dysfunctional, it's kind of wasted time and energy, honestly. It's just a Band-Aid. It's just a
Yeah.
Band-Aid. And so that's what I'm passionate about. Yeah, and just, it's kind of like, I believe that each one of us has a purpose. You shine, like you have so much magnetism and energy, and like I just love you, like immediately, just in our texting back and forth. I'm like, oh my God, I love this woman. Like she is amazing. You're
Thank
just
you.
so present and fun and full of light. I think that, yeah, we're at a time where it's like, it's time for big change, and we have to answer our soul's calling. So whatever that is for whoever, whether it's like, oh, I have an idea and I want to create a new product, or I want to do this kind of work, or I want to start a nonprofit, or whatever it is, like whatever lights you up, it has to light you up. It has to light you up. And it's okay to change too.
Yes,
Um,
you've just said it.
because for me, I had reached a point in teaching where I was like parents loved me, administration loved me, everybody's like, oh my God, how do you do what you do? The children, the classroom, so peaceful, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's just because I've cultivated a certain level of mastery, right?
Yeah.
But I could feel, I'm like, I am not growing here.
You didn't,
I'm
did you,
not
you,
growing.
did you love yourself? Probably not.
No, I was so burned out by the end of the year. I was like, okay, I get that I'm serving and I'm doing good work, but this isn't fulfilling me.
Yeah.
This is lighting me up. And
How do you assist? So, what is your day to day? So, how do you assist mothers
yeah,
in your business right now? So, share with me an example of how you assist.
yeah. So what I love about Family Constellations work, which is created by Bert Hellinger, if anybody wants to look him up, you can. It is a way, it's an amazing way, method of tapping into the knowing field. So this unified field of consciousness. And what I love about it, okay, so it's not, talk therapy, you go to see a counselor, and you're just telling your story over and over again. Maybe they give you some suggestions and this and that. And oftentimes it doesn't really produce the results that you want. I mean, maybe there's some cathartic or some kind of, maybe being seen is helpful in some way, but it doesn't actually change the energy of what's going on. So what I love about Family Constellation, so the way it looks is like, say someone comes to me, a woman, a mother. Actually, I'll just tell you a story of someone that
Yep.
I worked with recently. So new mom, lots of anxiety. She has a past history of depression. She came to me, she's like, I can't bond with my baby. Like I'm just overwhelmed. I don't feel a connection, I said, okay, well, let's do a constellation. And so in the constellation, the way it works is, if I describe it, it's a little dry and boring, but let's just say what it does, it has a way, so she doesn't have to tell me anything about her life. She just says, this is the issue, and I don't want to feel this way anymore. I want to be connected to my son. I want to be a good mom. I could just see, like, for her, it was everything. I just want to be a good mother. When I go into a session, basically, I'm able to channel and sense and feel, okay, this is disconnect that you're experiencing is coming from your family of origin, from your mother's mother, etc. And so able to see the dynamic. So she just gets to receive and hear me track, okay, this is where it's, so she doesn't have to think about it. She doesn't have to figure it out. She just gets to observe what comes through the knowing field. And then healing sentences are spoken. So oftentimes we're carrying stuff that's not ours. We're carrying blocks that don't belong to us. They come from our mother, our father, wherever. There's all kinds of disorders and distortions that can happen, right, in the family tree. And then we just bring those things back into order. And so we did the session, and I checked back in with her I don't know, I think it was a couple of weeks afterward. She's like, "Oh my God, I feel so connected to my baby. I feel so in love with him. Like, thank you." Like, it was a big soul shift. So, yeah, yeah.
So you
And
were
the
able
beauty,
to give her clarity without her even realizing to clarity to be able to shift her persona of what she was feeling.
yeah, because you know,
And
when they are hidden in the subconscious, and once you bring them into the light of awareness, it dissolves. That's
yeah,
how it works, right?
it really is that an awareness, and a lot of the times we actually block it. I know I used to be master blocker.
Uh-huh.
I
How
was
did that die?
master blocker, master manifester, master block.
Yeah,
However, I'm better at it.
yeah.
I'm still working at it.
Oh yeah, no, it's never ending, right? Like there's always another layer and another layer and another layer. But yeah, and what I love about constellations, even though it's called family constellations, it's also called systemic. So you can actually apply it to business as well. So it
Yes.
doesn't have
So
to
yeah.
necessarily be, right?
Okay.
It
I'd
doesn't have
like
to
to
be,
hear about that as well.
yeah, so if I set up a constellation for a business, let's just say you're just feeling like my business isn't moving. What's going on? What's stuck, right? So I might bring in a field, and when I call fields, like imagine a field, and in that field there's these stones, and each stone represents some part of your business. So let's say it's the marketing, clients, your offer, whatever. I'm able to tune into each different aspect, and I get, you know, sensations in my body. I get images, messages, sometimes words come through, and I'm communicating, okay, these are how your potential clients are feeling. Maybe this is how your current clients are feeling. This is how your marketing is coming across. And I don't have to see it, you know, like I don't need the person to tell me anything. I had one woman that I worked with who had a retreat. She was hosting a retreat in Mexico, and she still had, I don't know how, I can't remember how many spaces left that she wanted to fill, and she wasn't able to fill. She's like, they're not filling. I don't know what to do. So we did the constellations, which was really interesting because the part that I remember, oftentimes I don't remember of the details, but in this one particular case, I remember that we were looking at the venue, and I'm like, oh, I said, well, I just see like umbrellas tipped over and this and that and the other thing. She's like, oh yeah, they just recently had a hurricane. I'm like, okay, well, I'm like, is it going to be ready? She's like, yeah, they say they're going to have it cleaned up. I said, okay, well, that's what I see. But yeah, we were able to shift things to where, again, you know, I connected with her after, and I said, how did that retreat go? She's like, oh yeah, fully booked, sold, you know, got all the
Wow.
spaces. Sometimes what can come through for business is different strategies that maybe you hadn't thought of before, things like that. So it's helpful because you get yourself out of the way, and
Yeah.
what needs and wants to come through from a higher intelligence can
Yeah.
spoken. Yeah.
Because you have that area of expertise. It's what you just said, get yourself out of your own way. To get yourself out of your own way, you really need to talk to others that have the specialty. We do. Why do we think we can do it all on our own?
Yeah.
That's the
No,
thing.
I don't know how, yeah, no, it doesn't exist that way. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, even healing, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If we were meant to do everything alone, why are we here?
Oh,
Like,
can
why
you
are
just
we
imagine how boring the world would be? We wouldn't be round. I think the world would be square because if we've just got to walk off, we would go that way and go,
Yeah.
you just imagine
Serious
that.
time. Okay, there we go.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Did I freeze? I don't know. Whatever. So, tell me something. If you were to share one tip, one insight, one
Yeah.
thing of your magic that somebody else, a woman out there that is feeling stuck, overwhelmed, because it seems to me the faster the world gets, the more shiny objects we get, the more overwhelmed we get, the more we stop, and just get, we have all this crappy stuff in our gut, which doesn't allow us to move forward. What would be
Mhm.
one quick tip that you can give to a woman that is feeling that way today to be able to go, you know what, I can do this
Yeah.
in the realm of your expertise?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I would say number one is slow down to get there fast. And that is one thing I tell you is the hard, I mean, I still struggle with it from time to time. if you try to go fast and and because you get that into that overwhelmed state, you're like, oh, if I just do more, and I'll do this, and then you end up chasing this shiny object, you end up feeling scattered, you're throwing spaghetti, like, stop, like, just breathe, slow down, like, trust. You got to come from this deep place of knowing that your self is guiding you, right?
Yeah.
And so when we're spinning out, and so really reconnecting with nature is the best way, honestly, I think, to stop that overwhelm, because we come from nature. Our bodies come from nature. So to recalibrate and reconnect with that, just like take a deep breath, go out for a minute, like say a prayer,
Go out
whatever.
for a minute. Go out. It doesn't
Reset.
matter if you live in a concrete jungle. Like I'm in a city, I live very close to the beach. However, I mean, I can't walk to the beach. Listen to me, spoil. It'll take me 12 minutes to walk to the beach. So I live very inner city. However, there's parks everywhere. Go outside and even if you're just walk outside, people have to, yes, nature.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get that message across.
Yeah. You do have to slow down. You have to slow down because because then you get dysregulated, your nervous system gets dysregulated,
Yeah.
you get burnt out, it's not sustainable. So the more that you are connected with your own soul and your own knowing and coming from that deep, soulful place,
Yeah.
resonate with the people that you're meant to work with, right? Just naturally, it's like, the universe, nature responds to that. So there's, that's what I call the matrix. The matrix wants you to believe that you have to hustle and you got to go, 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 and you got to do all the things. And there's all the, yeah. So there's an intelligence within us that is guided.
Yeah.
If we
I totally agree. Slow down to speed up. You got to slow down. I was that person but everything you said, that was me.
Yeah.
Till I physically burnt out. But that's another story in itself. So you're so calming.
Thank you.
So calming. You really are. It's been an absolute, and you can bring awareness to there's only solutions to problems, and you can definitely, without a doubt, assist people. And I love that you're helping mums.
Yeah.
I love that you're doing that because you're thinking forward, because you have education in your gut. So you are thinking forward because you've got the background training in it. I love that you're doing that as well as business. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I love that you're marrying the both. I don't know that we help mums enough because
Yeah.
children are our future. I know that sounds like a corny song. I think, was it Michael?
Or no,
But it's true. Yeah, it's true. Our education system is failing us globally.
Oh man.
And there are people like yourself that are out there trying to assist, to go, you know what, I've got a kid now. What is going on? I'm going to help. So you've sidestepped to move forward. So thank you so much, Tanya. I really appreciate you. You have a good morning, good evening, and good afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye for now.